But, there's this thing that you would do when I was a kid that would drive me fucking nuts, which is while you were downstairs, you would ask me to get you the remote, even though it was right next to you. Right? Pretty much the only thing. Yeah, I feel like you have the right to do that.
Wait a minute. What was I doing when I asked you?
You were on your exercise bike.
And I didn't want to get off?
Yeah, and you were drinking your Kraken and Coke.
Would I know where the remote was, or was I asking you to get it because you put it somewhere and I couldn't find it?
I see what it is.
I never watched the remote. I never watched the TV downstairs. I was very in my room type of kid. So it was because,
So you guys just moved the remote to fuck with me?
Or maybe one of our eight stepmoms, one of them.
8 stepmoms? Hold up. What?
7 stepmoms? How many have I had?
I'm a bad man, but it ain't okay. It's 5.
Is it 5?
It's 5.
Okay, let's see.
No, don't name them. Do not do that. Okay.
Okay.
I
remember more than that, but maybe you forgot about them.
That was 5.
Okay. All right. Maybe they're girlfriends. Who knows? Regardless.
Well, that doesn't count.
Well, all right. So Tectone said that whenever he was in high school, you had a separate apartment for them to be at, so you could have privacy with your own apartment.
Fourth grade.
Wait, that was 4th grade.
Okay. All right. That's not untrue.
Yes.
But that is a misrepresentation of the truth.
So what was it?
Okay.
The truth was that I was at the Pentagon and he and his brothers came to live with me. Okay? And I was in a 1-bedroom apartment with someone when they came to live with me.
The worst woman in human history.
Oh, really? Is that true?
No.
In my opinion, the worst.
No, and we're not going to do that. Okay? We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Sure.
No, seriously, that's wrong. They're not here to defend themselves.
Fine.
But the reason he and his brothers had a different apartment was because I had a 1-bedroom.
Okay.
And they only had 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So he and his brothers went into a 2-bedroom that was down the hall until 4 months later when we moved to a house. Together.
All right.
So yes, he and his brothers were in an apartment, but it wasn't because of anything other than I wasn't in an apartment that you could legally have 5 quote adults in.
So you were working at the Pentagon then. Like, he was in 4th grade. So like I do some math in my head. You were telling me earlier you were at the Pentagon whenever 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
That shit is crazy. What happened?
Well, it's.
Can you say?
Yeah. I mean, some 19 Saudi nationals and 1 Pakistani guy got on airplanes. They've been training at flight centers all around America. They didn't know how to land. They just knew how to take off. And they crashed airplanes into buildings.
Damn.
And my 2 older sons were going to this high school called 71st High School. And President Obama would go there because it was the most diverse high school in America. But they were gone from there by then. But this was in 2001, 2002. And originally I was reported as missing, presumed dead, because the meeting that I was supposed to be in is where the plane impacted the building. But I wasn't there. I was at Starbucks across the street when my secretary called and said, where are you? You're supposed to be in this meeting. And I was rushing back to go to the meeting, and I came out of a pedestrian tunnel underneath the interstate there in D.C., and I heard Godzilla off to my left, and I looked, and it wasn't Godzilla, it was an airliner, and it came over the little highway there, hit the ground to the west of the Pentagon, bounced, and then went into the west side of the Pentagon.
Wow.
And so I was in the building helping get casualties out. Damn. Cell phones didn't work, so his older brothers couldn't get a hold of me, and the Army listed me as missing in action. I wasn't, but his brothers were going to school with the Saudi and Pakistani ambassadors' kids. And,
that must have been awkward.
They were running cross-country with them. Well, at this point in time, we don't know who was on the airplanes.
Okay.
Initially, we didn't know who was on those airplanes.
Yeah.
And anyway, these kids were telling my 2 older sons that America deserved 9/11 because of our tolerance of homosexuals.
Damn.
Yeah. So when I finally showed back up and I'm talking to my sons, they're asking permission to beat these kids up. And that's when I told them, I said, look, either everybody has free speech or nobody has free speech.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose who gets to say what they want based on whether you like it or dislike it, or whether you like or dislike them.
Yeah.
Either we all have rights or nobody has rights. And so I said, the only time you're allowed to put your hands on somebody is either A, they've put their hands on you.
There it is.
Or B, they've told you they're going to put their hands on you.
Before we get too off track, I was telling you earlier about how, you asking that remote would just be so fucking irritating, right? So I want to go back here. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere with this.
The reason I would ask him to come get the remote, it was the only exercise the fat little shit would do.
Oh, is that right?
That's why I would say, John, come get the remote. Because that was it.